Yo, what's up? Amazing news today. The big update ahead of us within less than 1 week, right after the current event ends, just got significantly buffed because we are going to get more new content and we're going to get some very nice and welcome buffs on the content already announced. And here's the reason. This is the most important aspect of this. The way that the Partisan Guerilla update was described last Friday left many players extremely unexcited because there wasn't that much actually in. First of all, the new map, yeah, sounds good. The new Partisan squads, well, here's the first problem. Cool new mechanic, but the squads themselves were fucking weak. And I described it last Friday. A 4-man squad that just straight up a worse assaulter squad, a worse machine gunner squad is nothing great. And the problem of releasing a squad that bad is the same as the rocket artillery squad the last big update 3 months ago. It's just unexciting, and guess how many people are playing the rocket artillery squads nowadays? Exactly, basically no one. The only thing that makes them remotely playable is that they have universal engineers, so you can actually call artillery strikes, build an anti-air gun if you want to shoot on enemy planes, and then survive 2 minutes and call the next artillery strike. But the rocket artillery strikes themselves are even too fucking weak. So, guess what? Also, by the way, they were nerfed. That's a problem. For some reason they were nerfed, although they were just okay. Now, we had a similar problem coming ahead of us with the guerrillas. They were just fucking weak. And some people, some very loud minorities as usual, in the social media, were getting wet in the pants and thinking the world's gonna end because the partisans are gonna take over Enlisted and the game will be broken because everyone's gonna to play partisans because partisans are unbeatable. And I told these dudes, motherfuckers, if my enemies, let's say the whole enemy team, 10 of them are sending partisans into my gray zone, where I allegedly will lose the game for the rest of my life because now I'm stuck. I can't get out of the gray zone anymore. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Motherfucker, I'm gonna take a 9-man rifleman squad and my bots are gonna shoot them up. Or I'm gonna take this is on high BR. If it's on mid or low BR, on high BR obviously because the automatic rifles of the riflemen will just have insane firepower. And these guerrillas they can't be overpowered on high BR because they can't get assault rifles. They can only get SMGs. So select fire rifles like FG42s and high-level assault rifles are completely destroying them in direct confrontations, which is also historically accurate because obviously partisans were expected to have less quality in weapons than regular soldiers. And on mid and low BR, well, then they can break even in terms of their equipment, but still not in squad size. The 9-man rifleman squad, if you're good with bolties, is still better. And your bots on your machine gun squad will also devastate all enemy partisans coming at you. So, no, partisans are... And this also requires the enemy partisans, by the way, to have rally points close to your gray zone. Guess what? Most enlisted players don't fucking build rally points. And especially the noobs thinking that guerrillas are overpowered, they don't even have a fucking engineer in them. So you can't, if you want to noob around with partisans at the beginning of the game, you can't because you're gonna spawn 150, 200 meters away from the center of the map. And you will need 200 more meters to reach the enemy gray zone. So the partisans need a setup of high quality rallies and high quality APCs close to the enemy gray zone. Guess what? 99% of all enlisted players even struggle with getting a fucking rally point next to the objective. And we're not even talking about close to the enemy gray zone. So partisans, in order to even fulfill their basic function of infiltrating the enemy gray zone, need a lot of fucking setup. And this setup is completely astronomical compared to what the average enlisted player delivers. So you can forget about that. And even if they get all of this on high BR, they just get simply outnumbered. And on mid and low BR, they still get outnumbered because, well, you have 4 assaulters. Assaulter squad is also 4 assaulters plus 3 specialists. So there's fucking no way to claim that these squads are overpowered. All of these people claiming they're too strong, they're completely coming, they're ass pulling, completely made up best case scenarios, and not looking at what it usually will be. Here's how you do, by the way, before you go on, how you do this objectively. Because I noticed some people, especially in social media, are just fucking lacking any type of cognitive functions to think straight. Blame your boomer teachers and using TikTok too often. Here's what you do. If you want to compare how strong two things are, you do the following. You look at the first thing, and then you think of all possible situations that can come up. So all possible outcomes, roughly speaking. And then you see, all right, let's say we have like a 10 different situations, worst case, best case, and everything in between. And then you see how roughly often will they happen. And then you get something like a distribution. You don't need to make it too mathematical, but if you want to know it precise, you will get something like an average Gauss distribution with average cases being the most common ones in the center and extreme cases in the tails of the distribution left and far right. And then you see, this is how this type of squad will behave in real scenarios. Meaning, it will overperform rarely, it will underperform rarely. Most often it will perform this way. Now obviously, not everything is perfectly average distributed. Some things just will suck more often than they work well. Yeah, and I think these squads definitely will be sometimes average, most often very under average, and very rarely will they overperform. And of course, once they are released, I'm going to make some cool strategy guides for them. And of course, I will show you only the best performance, because this is obviously the thing we want to see. I want to see how squads perform well, not how they suck. And then some people will come up and say, oh look, I was right. I spammed social media saying that these squads are too dangerous, they are too strong. No, motherfucker, it's because I show you the best case scenario. It's not because I show you how they work on average. So, yep, this is the problem with them. And if you compare this first thing to the second thing, you will see, alright, let's compare this squad to an average assaulter squad. The assaulter squad most often overperforms. That's why it's the most played squad in the game. It's very easy to use and very strong. And it's extremely good on offense and really good on defense. There's no other squad which is as good at attacking than assaulters, because they're very fast. So there's no way, if you look at these two distributions, because now you can start the comparison. Most people do the problem of if they try to compare, they completely compare the wrong way, because they only compare cherry-picked aspects of one and the other. But this is not how you compare. You compare the complete picture of both things. The complete distribution of possible outcomes, how a squad can behave in Enlisted, and then you compare the whole picture. It's the same thing as in finance. If you want to buy something, if you want to buy an asset, you do a mathematical analysis. How will this asset behave in the future? And then you have a perfect distribution of different risks, of different outcomes, of different payouts. And then you see, all right, now I can compare this with other things. This is how people who think do things, and this is how they come to good, high-quality decisions. But if people just think with their asses and cherry-pick ass-pulled dream scenarios, then of course they can't objectively understand how good or strong something is. And another problem many people have is they don't even fucking compare properly. And I noticed this in the discussion about the new update. I did the mistake of participating in a discussion for a couple of posts, and I noticed the average people, like not the average, the usual suspects who constantly post bullshit. These dudes once again try to argue how overpowered these guerrillas are. And I noticed 3 posts deep into discussion, these people fucking are mentally unable to compare. They literally didn't even compare guerrillas to other enlisted squads. They literally just said, oh, they are overpowered because they can run into the gray zone. And that's it. Their brains fucking stopped working after noticing this one skill. And I think, dude, this is literally elementary school reading comprehension, because well done. You read the Enlisted post about what guerrillas can do. Good. So you successfully graduated 2nd grade now. Okay, now show me that you can read on a 5th grader comprehension level, and compare this with what other enlisted squads can do. But this is fucking not possible for these people. And then I just stopped talking the discussion, because yeah, it was ridiculous. So yeah, this long intro is important because you need to understand, guerrillas were fucking weak. Why do we talk about them now? Because they got buffed, and this is the first time in history of Enlisted a squad gets enlarged, because now you get a 5th soldier. Yes, you get a 5th soldier in all guerrilla squads, meaning in the tech tree, in the event squads coming this month, and of course also in the premium squads that you can buy. And this is insanely good. And no, they're still not overpowered, but now they're actually playable. I was quite conflicted last week because I tried to give people something interesting to hype and to feel good about, but as I said, 4-man guerrilla squads are just fucking underpowered, and you can't expect them to perform well. But now with 25% more manpower, oh, this is different, because now at least if you have to run 100 meters to the gray zone, you have a much better chance to actually have one soldier left who can start doing the infiltration. Because as in real life, partisans can't expect to survive for too long. Yeah, so yeah, they're basically throwaway soldiers, which is also how they were used. Most of the time, partisans were, at least in World War II, at least for the Allied side, were communist radical civilians who just were additionally radicalized and used by governments by giving them weapons and by convincing them, yeah, go on, fight, we're gonna give you this and that, and you will succeed, and communism, and great, and so on. What they didn't understand is that they were lied to most of the time, because what the commanders actually organizing this organization in the background knew that, well, most of them will die, because you cannot expect to do sabotage missions and terrorism and stuff like that against organized armies and survive. Yes, you can do overproportional damage if you attack from behind and so on, but you still will lose. Yeah. So, and that's why most partisans also died. Like, you can attack a little station that has like 5 soldiers who are defending an ammunition post or so. But once you killed them, once you blew up the ammunition, or once you stole it and armored yourself up, once you succeeded in that, a big battalion of 500, 1,000 soldiers is going to come, and they're going to search through the whole area, and then you will all be dead. So it's historically accurate that in Enlisted, the way the partisans will be played is literally that they have to run around. Since they're small, they don't have the squad itself doesn't have a too high life expectancy, but all you need is just one soldier to survive, and then you can start dropping your TNT charges and hiding in the bushes and shooting enemies from behind, or very spicy, hunting for enemy rally points and shooting them, or hunting for enemy engineers who are building stuff and blow them up, or also searching for enemy anti-air guns. Like, one of the funniest things to do will be placing a TNT charge on an enemy anti-air gun or anti-tank gun, and then run away, hide in the bush, and then wait for some enemy to mount it. And when he mounts it, he likely will have his squad next to him, because most people, especially new players, don't know that you always need to order your squad somewhere in the corner to get out of the lines of fire. And then you just blow it up, and you got the whole squad killed and the anti-air gun, and this is just ridiculously fun. This is peak partisan gameplay. This will be very fun. And if you do this quickly enough and efficiently enough, partisans will also be strong enough. So yeah, this is the update on the partisans. They are finally saved because they were way too fucking weak back then. And to make it even better, or more logical too, the Obrez PPSH, I wrongly called it Obrez. Obviously Obrez means cut off in Russian, and the O is pronounced as an A. So Obrez PPSHs, they got downranked to BR2. Rightfully so, because they were just not, well, the low damage was just ridiculous, especially for the German one. So yeah. And also the captured MP40s now have the exact normal MP40 stats. Because why the hell should they have different stats? If a Soviet partisan finds a bunch of German MP40s, they don't magically suddenly change their stats. So yeah, this is also very good. This is a very logical and immersive change, because anything that's not logical is instantly ahistorical and instantly destroying immersion, because why should be, like, in real life things are logical. Yeah, at least everything that's based on natural science, and weapons behave according to physical laws. They don't suddenly change their metal aspects and properties if a different soldier picks it up. So yeah, this is really good. Now the next very nice and big change, anti-tank guns. What happens to them? Well, as we knew, anti-tank guns were one of the very nice tactical or strategical aspects of Enlisted that many other games simply don't have, or only have in a very primitive bad way. Try playing anti-tank guns and hell it loose. Yes, exactly. Absolute horrible experience. The problem with anti-tank guns in Enlisted was they were great on low BR, very great, especially for beginners. One of my favorite things to do. On mid BR they were okay but barely playable, and on high BR they were absolutely bad. Problem is, anti-tank guns were all the same everywhere. Now this is finally changed, meaning anti-tank guns get BR sensitivity. And here's how it works. On low BR, the Soviets will get a 45mm 53K anti-tank gun, and on high BR they get the 76mm 17-pounder. Yes, for those wondering, isn't this a British gun or American or Allied, Western Allied? Yes, it is. I think it's the Firefly gun. And here's the fun part. This improvement was quickly rushed into the game over the last week after Darkflow finally showed some glimpse of intelligence and business sense and noticed how completely unexciting the update was, and they added more quality. And this is some really big quality. Literally, if you look at the big cannon, how huge it is in real life or in the game. I guess in a couple of days we will all have it. And they added the game mechanic, but not the models. So there are only 2 models for high BR anti-tank guns. The Americans and the Soviets get the 76 17-pounder, and the Germans and the Japanese get the 75 PaK 40s. So that's quite good. Now you can on high BR blow up tanks reliably too, which you couldn't. This is very important. This is absolutely important because engineers were the kings of low BR and also the kings of fun and creative gameplay, also of social gameplay, of strategical tactical gameplay. But on high BR, everything just was a sweat fest where you can only run around with SMGs. Now, with these strong anti-tank guns, not only can you more easily deal with enemy tanks, especially in the gray zone, which is very important, but you can also now have reasons to build them against infantry, which once again is a plus, because now you have a more heterogenic game style Now it's the more reasons you give players to play different weapons, the better the game becomes. Because you don't want a monoculture where everyone's playing the same bullshit, where there's only one viable thing, which is SMGs or assault rifles. No, you want different things. And building a well-positioned anti-tank gun that can blow up your squad if you're bum rushing too obviously, instead of sneaking around undercover, which is what soldiers do in real life. Yeah, this incentivizes players to play more thoughtful on both sides and to play in a more realistic way. Because the biggest problem is bum rushes. In Enlisted, most of what people do is they just stack up 4 people and then they bum rush through the whole game. And most players, especially new players or unorganized teams, which is what you have most of the time, they don't know how to defeat this. And yes, it's very hard. In order to defeat a 4-stack, you need to play very well, you need to have good equipment, and you need to preferably be organized and very disciplined. And this is literally too much to ask from enlisted players. And that's why 4-stack bum rushes usually work. But something like this can stop a 4-stack, because if the 4-stack bum rushes, if 2 or 3 of these players rush in one big ball of death, well, one nice 76mm shot means you killed all of them instantly. And next time they will think twice and thrice before they bum rush straight ahead. No, they will try to go around. And this means you have more time now, because obviously simple geometrics. A straight line is shorter than a curved line. So yep, this is just on every front literally an improvement of the game. I asked the helpers and I got help by 3 nice helpers regarding the details, because they weren't specifically posted. I had to get the data myself regarding the stats of the specific guns, and also regarding whether anti-tank gunner squads will get this. It wasn't clear yet, though I'm quite sure it will be done, because it's perfectly reasonable. And if they for some reason forgot to code it, I'm sure it will be coded soon. So yeah, that's a safe thing. So yeah, very good. Second great improvement after the Guerilla Squad updates and their weapons. We get better and stronger anti-tank guns, also more realistic ones. Also, on low BR, the nations get not only the strong ones on high BR, as I already said, on low BR 2. The Americans get a 57mm M1 on low BR. The Germans get a 50mm PAK 38. And Japan gets their 47mm Type 1. Now, some of these were already in the game, meaning not every nation gets another one on low BR. Some of these are new, and they're overall quite well balanced. So yeah, also keep in mind for some people who will say, oh, why has my nation a stronger one than the other or a weaker one than the other nation? What matters isn't really that your nation has exactly the same caliber. What matters more is how is your anti-tank gun relative to the enemies. And for that purpose, for example, the Allies need stronger or need better penetrating anti-tank guns on high BR, because the Germans have much better armored tanks on high BR. Same thing goes, for example, for the Japanese. The Japanese need better penetration on low BR and also on high BR than the Americans, because the American tanks are much better armored on average than the Japanese tanks. So the Americans can get away with less penetration. But penetration is just one aspect. What also matters is how fast is the reload. For example, the Japanese anti-tank gun had insanely fast reload. And how strong is the HE effect. Because if you have just very good penetration but not much HE, it may take too many shots to blow up a tank actually. And the tank still, if the tank has a chance to shoot you back, you will be dead instantly. There's no way to survive. Doesn't even matter which ammunition he has. HE will kill you, including the gun. Armor-piercing shells will kill your gun, absolutely, and likely also your crew. And even smoke shells can blow up your crew due to the HE filling they have. So, yeah, so much to that. Then we also get a very comfy update regarding some plain machine guns, because the most important thing, or the most important metric for the performance of machine guns on planes against other planes is the fire rate. Since planes are flying very quickly, even if you perfectly shoot at them, since your bullets are still landing in intervals across space, you're very likely to miss. And the only way to ensure that your bullet spray actually hits the plane is an insanely high fire rate. And insanely high means significantly above 1000. Any fire rate under 1000 just means you will 95% not hit the plane. And for that purpose, the MG17s and MG81s got their fire rates increased from 1000 to 1200 and 1600. Really good for every plane having them, because now you can actually much more reliably kill enemy planes. Also, the Ithaca 37 shotgun has a 4-round magazine now. Well, I don't really have opinions on that. We need to see how well these shotguns perform in real life, or like in the game, because shotguns are an extreme special corner case of enlisted weapons, and it depends on too many factors, and we really need to test them in the proper games. Then, that's actually also significant now, the Maxim Tokarev, the last machine gun upgrade for the Soviet tech tree, now has less recoil. This is cool for everyone liking and using this machine gun. Not so cool for the Germans playing against it, because this is a very, very funny troll buff, because people are complaining about the Soviets having not only the one strongest machine gun, but the two strongest machine guns in the game, the RD-44 and the Maxim Tokarev. And what's even more ridiculous is that they're perfect complementaries of each other. The Maxim Tokarev has high damage but low fire rate. The RD-44 has high fire rate but low damage, and it aims very fast, and the running penalty is slower. So you can literally run around with the RD-44 in your hand, quickly spray away everything, almost like an assault rifle. And once you become stationary, you switch to your secondary weapon, which is Maxim Tokarev, and then you just spray away everything with the ridiculous machine gun damage. Yeah, this is absolutely insane, especially since the Soviets weren't really known for their strong machine guns in World War II. And especially since these two machine guns weren't really used in World War II. But now this one gets even better recoil. Yeah, which is absolutely insane. I think this is the second recoil buff, by the way, in the last weeks, because we got the general recoil buffs a couple of weeks ago, and now this gun gets even better. Well, yep, the Soviets are having lots of fun now. Now all we need is finally an introduction of 100 round belts for German machine guns. And by that we mean, of course, the MG42, and then life will be good. Then some bombs on the Japanese planes got fixed, nothing big. They just got better modeled now. And this is some last good change. The Stug plane gets a better zoom for its cannon now. Because if you're flying around with your big cannon on your plane, literally hunting enemy tanks from the sky, you need good zoom to actually find them under you on the ground. And now it actually zooms better. Because in real life it had a really good zoom. Because guess what? If you only have 12 shots, every shot needs to land. And since you're not that perfectly aiming, you need to be able to afford missing some shots. And especially if you find a group of enemy tanks or a bunch of APCs too, or anti-tank guns, anti-air guns you want to blow up, this is just really good to have to be able to zoom better. And yeah, this is exactly what we're getting now. So yeah, that's it. These are the changes. Extremely good changes. I'm very happy they are being implemented. And I'm quite sure we're going to get a little bit of more updates in the next coming days. Meaning what happens with the anti-tank gunner squads and so on. But even if nothing more comes out, this is just great. Having better, stronger, buffed partisan squads means that it's actually worth buying them now. Because it would have been a complete waste of money to buy a fucking 4-man squad of random grandpas. Yeah, so come on. Definitely not. It also would have been very annoying to grind them in the tech tree, because they are already completely useless items in the tech tree that just waste people's time. So now you get, just the normal grind gets better. And playing the event is absolutely more exciting now, because guess what? No one wants to grind for an event that already is taking you 20,000 experience, which is for many players too much and too annoying. Especially if they missed a couple of days, they just stop playing the event completely because they think, oh no, I won't be able to unlock everything, and yeah, life sucks, I will just stop playing Enlisted now. Yeah, many people, and you can't blame them, feel like that. So having squads that are actually worth playing for, that actually motivate players to play for, yeah, this is a good thing. This is an absolutely good thing. Very nicely done, Darkflow. And we have to emphasize this fact because it happens too rarely. So more good, smart, and especially fast decisions from Darkflow that improve the game are very much welcome. There's also a last tiny discussion point, and I remarked it. The Marders, in order to improve the update even further, because we are already on the improvement momentum, need to be downranked into BR2. There were countless discussions about that, and similar observations like downgrading all the tank destroyers by 1 BR. And yes, if you want this too, just spam as usual, spam in the social media, because quantitative spam. Quantity is the only thing that Darkflow listens to. Similar to Soviet commanders in World War II. They need to see the wall of posts about this topic, because the Marders are sadly much worse than my first impression on them, because after releasing the video last Friday, I saw what stats they have. They literally have okay guns for BR2, but their armor is basically nothing, and they don't have proper turrets. So they're by definition just inferior BR3 tanks. Way too weak compared to the proper good BR3 tanks. So yeah, they need to be reduced. If this happens, and if the Stugs, which are also stuck in BR2 and BR3, but should instead be in BR2, if they get downgraded too, then we're gonna have a nice, really fun tank experience with the coming update. Alright? Let me know what you think. And of course, if you're new, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you get more of the fancy and good quality stuff about Enlisted in the upcoming days where we get the new update. Goodbye.